This is the heaviest podcast. Let's go!
All right.
You're right. Mad for it.
All right.
Oh dear.
How's it going?
Where are mine? I don't have mine. Otherwise, I put them on, and we could be the pair of them.
What's going on? Just a normal week, mate.
Just
nothing
totally
real,
normal
nothing
week,
new,
man.
nothing
Nothing
interesting. Just a
happening.
regular old week, mate.
Oh dear me. You gonna wear that the whole time?
No, I'm fucking roasted.
I had to go with a long sleeve t-shirt because I was like, "Oh, you see, I can't see you wearing a bloody coat the whole time."
I might see how long I can wear it for.
I mean, you do look cool as hell. It's too early to sweat.
When you start wearing sunglasses indoors and you start wearing jackets indoors, you feel the sweat, and you still feel cool even through the sweat. I don't know what it is. It's incredibly powerful. You can see what Liam does it.
It's a small price to pay for being incredible.
It's a small price to pay, and he wears massive coats, doesn't he? Sometimes he's got a coat on.
He's got
There's
bloody
like-
carkers on, mate. They're full of everything.
He wears coats that are like designed for the Mighty Boost, like a comedy song.
They're designed to be worn whilst riding a moped, so you've got to stay warm then. Just for the record, I absolutely despise Oasis. I know you're aware of this, but
Yeah,
you know.
it's not my fault. You're a fucking bellend, mate. As you were, Gary.
I'm happy for everyone who cares, but I am not one of those people.
I'm over the moon, mate. I'm well up for it. I'm
You get tickets here. You ready to,
maybe.
You
I'd
ready
like
to sell
to.
Max already? You've only had him a little while.
I'm gonna have to sell him. No, I'm really hoping my stepdad just gets.
You reckon he will? You reckon he want to go and he won't have anyone else to go with, so he'll just buy one for you? Be like,
Yes.
son, you got to come with me. You're really slipping into that persona really well.
I know. It's just so easy to just stand there and just look tough.
Occasionally say mad for it. Punch
Mad for
dart
it.
every now and then. I think that's what they call smoking cigarettes in Australia.
What I think about the most is that when Kevin and Perry, when they like come back from Manchester, they've been to Manchester for like 10 minutes, and they come back
Perry's got the
drawn on
fake,
beards.
with the fake beard drawn on and stuff. Yeah, mad for it.
Mad for it.
Come on, our kid.
Oh, I've got to take it off. It's so hot.
Yeah, I've had to pull my hat. I've got an hat. Let me show you it. Look at that. Oh! So I have to pull my hat down quite a long way because I've got.
What is it? I couldn't see that. Can I have another go?
Have another little look. Oh!
What you done there? Is that right? Is that
That's
a
just
big
a
nasty
horrible
spot?
That's going to get us banned from YouTube for gore content. That is, mate. That's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, people are
Just
lucky
look
we're
off.
not in the old 1080p. Luckily we're restricted by your current hardware.
Yeah, lucky
and they
my-
might not
my
actually be able to see
laptop can't
that.
handle recorded in 1080p. Otherwise,
People might be able to keep their dinner down.
Yeah, it would be
I just look so much less cool now.
Oh no!
Don't I?
Can't
I've just
you
gone from like a 12 to a 3 in
Can you get
coolness.
Sonny Gallagher back? He was way cooler.
I know. You know what? I used to have some really nice little round sunglasses as well. They would have been perfect for that. But
Yeah, I've got a pair. They're knocking around somewhere. I think I wore them in our
in the speed
thumbnail.
one.
And I do have a pair somewhere. I like them. They make me look like John Lennon, which I think is the ultimate goal for the Gallagher brothers as well, isn't it? Is to do everything.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
the Beatles did again.
Oh,
What
mate.
are you supping, mate? What are you supping?
Oh, just this is a can of Madry left in my house by my mother.
Oh, nice.
I do not endorse the casual consumption of Madry very often. I do think it is a lesser lager. I don't know why. I think it's that smug bugger on the front.
Yeah, I don't like him in his
his little
houndstooth jacket.
waistcoat.
Yeah,
His
I'm not a
little
fan.
waistcoat, man.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of you. Waist
Man.
Waistcoat man.
Absolute waistcoat.
Waist man.
But no, I didn't actually have any other cold beverages, so looks like I'm having a beer.
Delightful. Sometimes when they're what's in the fridge and you just need something cold, it's a good excuse, isn't it?
Sorry. There we go. The volume was all wrong.
Oh, no.
How's it going, brother? What's going down?
Yeah, pretty good, dude. I've got both dogs for the next 2 weeks. Nick's parents are on holiday.
Trevor Nelson and Jamie.
Trev's over. It was going pretty well, and then Jamie attacked him while I was preparing their dinner, so that was fun.
Brilliant. That's a good move. that's how you assert dominance.
I swear, Jamie is like so much better behaved now, but I don't know. He just loses his mind around food, and he just gets a bit fixated beyond the point of being able to control himself. Which, to be fair, I'm not far different. If I'm honest, I'm always the first person in the front of a queue for a buffet, and I'll throw bows on an old lady. I ain't shook. So maybe that's where he gets it.
Sorry, that's better.
Is it?
So yeah, you got double dog in the house, Gary.
Yeah, man.
Very nice time.
So my life just kind of becomes consumed with walking dogs and feeding dogs and running around after dogs, and it gets to about 10 o'clock before I get some time to myself to sit down and do something. Yeah. How about you, man? How's
good?
Life going
week
well?
2 dad life. All right, mate. All right, yeah. Very, very. Back to the old
dad. How's that panning out?
Oh, it's all right. It's not great though. I just don't really want to be doing it. Just want to be doing baby stuff.
You're missing out. You're just missing out.
Yeah. I actually went in.
I made you a cup of tea. He just did his first fart. You're like, no, I missed it.
She's just playing Cats in the Cradle downstairs.
That's a dark joke.
Yeah. No, she's just playing that downstairs at me. No, I had to go into the office today, so I left them. I flew the nest for a while. Thankfully, there was, no issues with anyone's mortality.
Good to hear.
We're all right. Yeah, no, just to be honest, Gary, listening to a lot of riffs outside of just doing general baby stuff. Riffs, mate, riffs, and what a bunch of riffs we got to talk about this week. Like,
we got some riffs.
What stupendous pairing we have.
We sure do. I am, especially, the big release of the week, obviously, is Nails, which is what we're going to talk about first. I've been having so much fun just listening to this record, man.
It's cracking.
We're also going to be, it's not often that we're gonna actually like review something properly later, aren't we? That'd be interesting.
There's some things to talk about that are less favourable. I think we should start off with nice stuff. But
we're gonna start with Nails. We can't. We got it. It's just got to happen. Nails, dude. 4-piece.
Nails.
Extreme band. Are they hardcore? Are they metal? I don't know. They're from California. They're the brainchild of Todd Jones. This is their 4th full-length album. It's called Every Bridge Burning. Well, it comes out on Friday the 30th of August through Nuclear Blast. So I think Nails are like really special. I think they're one of those bands who everybody who likes heavy music likes.
Absolutely.
Even if I'm one of these people. Grindcore is not my thing. I do not listen to every Grindcore album that comes out, but I bloody love Nails. I think they're one of those bands. Like, kind of like knocked loose, I guess, in a way that they're just sort of like the great leveler. And you look at them, you're like,
Yeah.
how is a band this extreme, this popular? Like, it
Yeah.
kind of defies convention, but they are phenomenal. And when they kind of came out on the scene, they created this whole wave of kind of bands that just wanted to do a nails, and they're a really important band. Am I talking rubbish, or am I getting overhyped on myself, or do you agree?
No, I was going to start my notes in a very similar way. I think they're one of the very few bands that really do unify heavy music fans. Like basically anyone who's heard a breakdown agrees that Nails are one of the hardest and best bands ever to do it. Like,
yeah. Every show you go to, you'll see at least like 10 pieces of Nails merch.
Yeah, still, even when they've been quite dormant.
Despite the fact that like it's been 8 years since they've had a new record, since last record came out, they're still just one of those bands who kind of goes down in infamy, which is funny. Even like when you look at the kind of shenanigans that kind of go on behind the scenes with Nails, for example, pretending to split up so you don't have to do a UK tour, which I will never forget. That does still wind me up, but not enough to not like the band anymore. Or your entire lineup quitting and leaving the band, and you just being the last man standing, and all three other members just going, "Well, nah, we're off." Which is where Todd Jones found himself as he was gearing up. Well, not as he was gearing up, as he kind of came off of the "You'll Never Be One of Us" cycle. Basically, everybody just disappeared, and he was left to kind of build back up and pick up the pieces. And I think that like going into this new album, I reckon that there's a lot of people out there who are probably thinking, is it going to be the same? Like without, well, particularly Taylor Young. He's a very popular man. He's a very amazing drummer. He's in a lot of projects. He's quite infamous at this point. Hard Law podcast, all that kind of stuff. Like he's well known, and him leaving, and then a whole new lineup of people who are, there's some bands in there that the guys in the new lineup have been in, like Ulthar, obviously I'm aware of, but I'm not really too au fait with the new lineup and who they are and where they've come from. So I think there'll be a fair amount of skepticism about whether Nails can still pull it off going into this new record. Do you reckon? Am I? Have you seen? Much
I don't know,
of that? Have
because
you seen people questioning it, or does everyone just absolutely love it and everyone's like,
no? I mean, I was going to say, like, the singles have spoken for themselves. The singles have been, the singles have just been completely Nails, and it's been brilliant. They've all been fantastic, and I haven't really seen any sort of people's eyebrows at this record.
I can only just about do that. Like,
I've not seen any of that.
I have to use my entire face to make it work as well. Look,
to just go like that.
But I don't know. I just think like it was definitely before I heard any singles, it definitely played on my mind of like the whole lineup's gone. Is the magic going to kind of go with it? And turns out that the magic was almost entirely Todd Jones, and he can make it work with anybody as long as they're skilled enough with their instruments, because this album absolutely bloody bangs, man. This album is on another level. Like I personally, my favourite record of their three previous was "You'll Never Be One of Us." I just think that album's amazing, and I like to think this album is kind of taking that like thrash grind kind of style and just continuing it on and finding new ways to sort of expand without actually expanding. Like the songs are still 1 minute to 2 minute onslaughts, but like I don't know if it's just I'm just projecting or what, but I feel like there's a more complete offering in this record than there's been on previous records. Like it feels like songs almost have like proper structures. They're not just like, oh, here's one absolutely savage riff and then we'll play another riff for maybe like 5 seconds at the end, which is even savager. And like it feels like the songs kind of develop and have more structure than that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just the things that you love about this is just the spitting bile, the blasting that you go through, that absolute maelstrom that Nails are known for, and then you get these moments that go from like a runaway train to just such a concise fucking groove, and that is the Nails. That is the Nails energy
Nails.
For me. It's when they just take that like runaway train and just they lock in, groove it the fuck out with like the weight of an apocalypse behind them, and it's just HM2 just beauty, man. It's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. But I do feel that there's some tracks in this that have got a bit of a different energy, like
sure.
the lacking the ability to process empathy feels like Nails like trying their best to like just actually make a proper hardcore song. It's so it's so cool and so sort of different and swaggy, but it's hardcore with all the Nails energy behind him. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Like, I think one of the things I found an interview with Todd Jones that was done recently on notfest.com, and basically he kind of said like I had to take some time to like fall back in love with playing guitar. Like he kind of went off of the idea of playing guitar, and like he kind of had no enthusiasm to sit down and work on new Nails. So I think the result is that this record has a bit more of a stripped back approach than the last record. Like You'll Never Be One of Us it's quite technical, whereas this to me feels a bit more straight up and down. And I know what you're saying about like the use of groove, like rather than just being really wild and frenzied, but also fucking lead parts and just madness. It's much more thicker and chunkier, and I think that makes it just work so well. It just feels so hench. Like, sorry, you get into the title track when it solidifies into that absolutely monstrous 2-step, and you're just like, this is why I love Nails. Like they just go from complete carnage to just turning into a freaking laser beam, and it's so exciting. And what you're saying about like different vibes and different feels, like give me the Painkiller, man. Like that is so cool. It's like taking it almost like a classic heavy metal song and running it through a Nails filter. Like it's the way that it works. It's so awesome. Like honestly, I listened to that and I feel like when the first time I heard Gutter Phenomenon by Etid, and I was like, oh, hello. And then you got like a whole generation of like southern rock twinged metalcore bands, and I reckon we're going to get like a whole new wave of like classic rock grindcore. Like, and I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to listen to all of it because like the fusion of those two ideas and the way that Nails make it work on that song is just absolutely impeccable.
It comes across as a proper, it feels like a proper Converge riff, doesn't it? I love it.
It does have quite a Converge-y feel to it, but I don't know, it feels more like you're listening to Motorhead, but with a madman doing vocals or something. Like it's got a much more like proper old school vibe to it, and I just think it works so friggin' well. Definitely what you're saying. Like Todd Jones' vocals sound really, really awesome on this record. Like he feels a bit more like he's let the beast out of the cage to a certain extent. Like on a song like Trapped, where the vocals just get absolutely mental, and he sounds like a wild beast.
Yeah, mate, they are just doing
that.
Yeah, man, they're just being their old selves, like just completely, just willfully repugnant, uncompromising, just vessels for torment. It's fantastic. Like there's such a consistency in their music, and their like absence in recent years has like had homies the worldwide just absolutely chomping at the bit for this. And we've all been like wide-eyed, froth mouth, just clenching fist, and it's absolutely exactly what you want. It's Nails. We don't really want evolution. You don't want progression. You just want to be beaten to fucking death.
Yeah, I don't want to hear the Nails prog album. Like I think what I was saying about like the new lineup and people being like, "Oh, is this going to change what goes on?" Another thing that I read in that interview was like, there was like a strategic idea of posting the fact that they were going to make new music with a picture of Todd and Kurt Ballou to be able to be
Right.
like, don't worry, guys, I'm recording it at God City. It's gonna sound like a Nails record. It's gonna have that like that absolutely like thick as hell crunch and everything that you want, and just kind of giving people that reassurance that it's going to sound hard as Nails or as hard as the band Nails, you know. And I really think that is like it's delivered and almost more like it's just something about the idea of stripping it back a little bit and just writing riffs maybe with more of a almost like a punk aesthetic almost in a lot of places that make it all just feel like, I don't know, just more impactful, just a bit more like complete, really, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, you always get Nails albums always going to clock in at like 15 to 20 minutes. Like, and if they ever write an album longer than that, then I'll be worried. But this one just feels like it kind of has a bit more of a well-rounded like aspect to it, like lacking the ability to process empathy.
Mate.
They achieve so much in that song, like. There's loads that go in. I reckon when he's like, when he's doing those chomps, I reckon he's like taking massive like inch chunks out of the guitar with each one, man. Like, I reckon he cut 5 guitars in half just recording that one riff. Like, it's so savage. And then like,
Mate, also the final track.
Is that the last track? I didn't make a note of when it comes
no, the final track is no rivers to cross. No more rivers to cross.
No More Rivers
That
to
track
Cross, yeah.
is absolutely fucking brilliant. It takes this sort of more like measured fucking like iron boot stomp around with this fucking big fucking dirty riff with a big sort of sassy bend on it. There's like that the riff in that, like it could be like from like To Ride era Entombed. It's got that real
definitely.
sort of stepped back just swag to it, and it's a really, really strong finale. Like I love that final track.
Yeah, man, it is massive. All I was going to say about I Can't Turn It Off is like, how do Nails find time to do a drum solo in one of their songs when the song's a minute long? How do they find time to squeeze a drum solo in there as well? Like, that's crazy. It sounds really awesome. There's a drum solo followed by a guitar solo in a song that I think lasts 1 minute and 20 seconds. Like, that song, I Can't Turn It Off, I think is an absolute anthem. It's an anthem for people who have lost, whose batteries have gone flat in their TV remotes. That's what it's for. But yeah, it's just like, I just think every track is pretty much anthemic, and every like this. This is when like if anybody asked what album you're most looking forward to in 2024, my answer has been the new Nails record, because he's put the idea out in the ether since like November last year, and I've just been like, yeah, summer Nails are dropping a new record, and I'm just so glad that I had no doubt in my mind, but I'm just so glad that it delivered as well as it has.
Absolutely
spectacular.
Yeah, if you're a Nails fan, if you have been a Nails fan at any point, this album is not going to disappoint you in any way. It is so wholeheartedly Nails. It's just a fucking absolute barnstormer.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's incredible. Yeah, it's called Every Brick Burning. It's by Nails.
It's hard.
You're all going to listen to it, but if after you listen to it, you're so psyched, you just want to love it on it with some people, we're here for you. And yeah, oh my god, incredible. It's a grindy double header, isn't it, mate? Like we've really gone for it this week. I've listened to a lot of blast beats. The second record we're going to talk about comes from a band called Concrete Winds. They're a 2-piece grindcore band from Helsinki in Finland. This is their third album. It's self-titled, and it's released on August the 30th through Sepulchral Voice. I can never say that word. I read it, and then I go to say it out loud, and I'm like, oh god, what have I done wrong? Sepulchral Voice. Yeah, it's a difficult week to release a grindcore album up against Nails, really, isn't it?
Well, I was thinking actually, like at first I was like, oh no, what have Concrete Winds done? But actually, I think if like the music press actually did its job in the way that it should do, like this should be just a perfect coupling. Like forget fucking Barbenheimer, mate. It's fucking this week is fucking Concrete Nails, mate. If you are just absolutely in the mood for double hard chaos, then you need to jam Nails and then go straight into Concrete Winds. Like this band are like one of the few bands sonically on the planet that you could say are comparable to Nails.
Yeah,
this is just such a treat. This is such a beautiful second course, mate.
Absolutely, man. And the thing is, like, they're both playing in the same genre, but actually they are coming at it from quite different directions.
Yeah,
Because I feel like Concrete Winds are way more focused on being like chaotic and noisy, whereas
absolutely.
Nails are more focused on being like art. Concrete Winds, I feel like they're much harder to kind of grab onto. Like one's a brick and the other one's like, I don't know, Ebola or something. Like it's difficult to like. What Concrete Winds do is way less tangible than Nails, but no less devastating. Like it just
Yes.
works so well. It bombards and mate, like this band wail, like the wailing, like they must go through whammy bars like most bands go through plectrums. Like it's incredible. When I was reading up and I saw that they were a two piece, I was like. I was a bit gutted because I had this image in my head of them playing live and there being a member of the band who literally just ran around just holding his guitar by the whammy bar and just going, woo! Just literally that was all he did. Like he didn't play a single riff. He just did that because of all of that crazy like Kerry King style chaos that he lays in. But then when I read they were a two piece, I then started imagining doing it in the recording studio as overdubs and then that was equally as amusing, like jumping up on the sofa and then accidentally impaling his guitar in the soundproofing on the wall and then realising that actually that sounded pretty sick.
That actually sounds sick.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
like it's so nuts and it sounds like one of the most fun types of music you could ever make because it is just absolute sensory overload.
Yeah, so they come to it from a more of a like a war metal, like black metal turned up to the absolute extreme by way of grindcore. But then they sort of them and Nails sort of meet in the middle where they just if you just get so hard, you basically cross over. You just get so unbelievably hard, you end up crossing over with Nails, and it's a brilliant place to be. I'm a really big fan of this band. They released an album called Nerve Butcherer in 2021 and that was fantastic. That really got a hold of me. I think I shouted out on the podcast and it actually put me into their previous album Primitive Force. And what I first was drawn to is there's a track there's them doing this absolute just madness, like Nails level insanity grind, and then they fucking pop out a little like disco beat in the middle of this track, and you've got like it's unreal, mate. It's one of the coolest little twists and turns, and that's the sort of thing that these guys do. They have a real penchant for just like injecting these like interesting grooves, these sort of like unexpected for the intensity of the music, and it's so sick. There's constant like intricate flailing guitars. The vocals have a very similar Todd Jones effect where it's just pure fucking bile, and it's fantastic, mate. It satiates any sort of bloodlust you have when like looking for hard, heavy music. And this album, it goes absolutely hard, mate. I love it.
Yeah, man. Like, there's a kind of energy to this record that makes me think of r/what could go wrong. You know, when you see people like doing stupid shit, and then like someone finds a hornet's nest and decides to go to throw a rock at it or something. You know, that sort of attitude. I think that's all over this record. Like, what's Jamie doing? Dog's interrupted my flow there. What are you playing at? Come sit down. Come sit down, you nightmare. And I think like historically, grindcore in its kind of purest form can be a bit crusty, and it can put people like say a band like Fawn Limbs, for example, could maybe put like true grindcore fans off, and I think that there's enough of both aspects of that sort of true grindcore and the more kind of math grind stuff going on this Concrete Winds album that it will kind of satisfy both sides of the fence, if you know what I mean. Like it'll get a pass by like someone who's really into more mathy heavy stuff, and it'll also get a pass from the sort of person who's into the more kind of like D-beat laden, really like sort of traditionally grind kind of attitude. Like it's got a bit of both things going on, and then also on top of that it's got like industrial stuff and like other little flourishes and little sprinkles to just keep it interesting. Like it is hard to get hooks into this kind of music because it is inherently just song starts, goes nuts, ends, next song starts, go. Like I was trying to write notes about individual songs, and I kept being like, okay, so I'm 3 songs past the one I was thinking about what I was writing down for. So I kind of struggled to like write notes on individual songs, but as a kind of experience, it's chaotic, but there are like things that go on within songs that you can kind of go, right, well that happens in that song, that happens in that song, to help you not just get really disorientated and seasick. And I think that's always the sort of thing that we bring up as like what makes the bands that we talk about stand out from the crowd. And I really think that Concrete Winds have nailed that on this, but then also there's just a really decent amount of just that madness, which is kind of their signature, and like what makes them special is they are just mad. They just sound mad.
Yeah, this album is just rumbling, unbridled hell. It's caustic, it's battering, it's gritty, it's groovy as fuck when it wants to be. Everything's up to 10. You've got guitars like cut burning snakes, blasts and pedals just mulching your soft skin. The vocal attack is so venomous and confrontational. It sounds great as well for as horrible as it is. This is just something you want to turn way up and really fucking annoy you. That shitty neighbour that's been mugging you off all week. Just like they're going to have an absolute nightmare this Friday, like when Nails and Concrete Winds come out. I love
watching the TV at 25 volume.
Yeah. Like what I love about this as well is there's a real sort of like weirder, more like cerebral intensity to it as well. It's very sort of channeling and vicious. Pounding Devotion, like that track basically just gets to the point where it's so sort of like cerebral and warped. I absolutely love it. It's an endurance test. Well, I say it's an endurance test, but it absolutely flies by.
It doesn't last so long. So
yeah,
it's sometimes bands just get carried away when they write this sort of music, and they make an album that's got like 30 tracks, and it's like, all right, guys, we get it. Whereas I think this is really succinct, and this is like the perfect length, and it doesn't outstay the welcome. It leaves you just kind of being like, well, what the hell just happened? Like, there's a song on it called Permanent Dissonance, and I was just kind of thinking like that's kind of how it makes me feel. Like afterwards, I'm like, whoa, I'm like just baffled, and that's a very appropriate name for it. And I love the way, like, there's a bit in that song where they slow down and it lasts about 3 seconds, and then now we've had enough of that, and they speed back up again. I just love, and then they literally they play the riff and they make the riff faster and faster until they're just back to go. Like, I just love the way that they do that. It's so funny. And also, at the end in Demented Gospels, it's got the best like crash bang wallop rock star guitar ending you've ever heard. Like, I've just never heard anybody do it as well as it happens at the end of this record. It's absolutely incredible. Usually people will be like playing like doing like blues licks, but they're just like just going absolutely nuts on it. I think it's quality, like turning that idea that's very played out on its head and making it into something that's really their own.
Yeah.
Just doing circles around. What are you doing? Sit down. Sit down. You're distracting the podcast. Pack it in.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, Concrete Winds and Nails. What an absolute combo of riffs, mate. Just
it's Concrete
beasts.
Nails week. Get excited
Concrete
on
Nails,
Friday,
mate.
Guys. It's gonna be fast.
Yes.
Concrete Winds by Concrete Winds, out Friday. Fantastic album.
Phenomenal.
Now we need to shift. I'm going to start with brutal news, and it's brutal in a way that isn't a positive this time, and that is the shape of a new song from the Number 12 Looks Like You. This really, really bums me out because the Number 12 Looks Like You are one of my all-time favourite bands. Mongrel might be in my top 5 favourite albums ever. It's definitely my top 10 favourite albums ever. That's for sure. I'd have to sit and think about it a bit more to see if it went to 5. But like, I adore this band. We've talked about when Wild Gods came out a few years back. We talked about it, and I kind of got a chance to express how much I love this band. But they put out a new song. It's called Eyes on the Fireworks, and it's terrible. it's so bad. Like
It's fully pants.
It's basically broken the Mathcore Index community page. This one
Yeah.
song, like someone will post it, and there'll just be hundreds of replies that say stuff like, I don't know, the number 12 sounds like shit, or like just the number 12 looks like what the hell just happened. Like it's just, I don't. It's so upsetting. Like.
So band lineup wise, DJ Scully's gone, right?
Is he really?
I think he's gone, isn't he?
Oh, I think that as far as I know, that the rhythm section of Doom, DJ and Mike Cadner are still in the band.
I didn't think that's a thing.
Oh, okay, my bad. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better, actually.
I thought Big Skulls has gone. I only know that from what I've seen on the comments. In places.
Okay. I should have probably dug further into it. I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't really want to think about it anymore. Like it's just not very good, is it? Like even on the level of what it is, which is like a weird kind of alt rock song, is not very good. Like it's really wet. Like I'm just not feeling it. Like I guess there's an element of it maybe sounds a little bit like At the Drive-In maybe, or there's I don't know, like Jimmy Eat World or something going on in there. Like it's just not right. It just bums me out that's what the number 12 looks like you're doing now. I'm really ever hopeful that Jesse Coleman has taken a page out of his wife's playbook, and like when Rolo Tomasi released Aftermath as the first single from Time Will Die and Love Will Bury It, which is basically like a pop song, and then the rest of the album actually had quite a lot of like really good stuff and was one of their most critically acclaimed records. Like I really hope that that's what's happened here, and it's just a one-off random song on an album of, or like when like Greyhaven released All Candy, and we were like, what's going on here? And then it turned out that the album was amazing, and it was okay, and it was just that one standalone song. And then actually, once that song was in the context of the record, like, I mean, I can't see this growing on me like All Candy did, but that's what I'm ever hopeful has happened here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure DJ Scully's not in the band anymore.
Oh, is he not?
I just did a little check. Yeah, he hasn't posted anything. I mean, Mike's not in the picture. The picture is none of that's not Mike's.
If Mike Cadner was in that picture, you would.
If Mike was, you like it'd be shining like a bright light. Yeah, I don't think either of them are in the band anymore.
Oh, that kind of makes you feel a bit better, if anything.
Yeah. I listened to it once and it was pants, mate. I was really, I held off a little bit because I saw all the bad reaction to it, and I was quite busy that day doing dad things, and so I'd sort of like, I couldn't wait to actually listen to it, and it was, I understood why everybody's mad.
How much I love this band. You couldn't wait to hear how bad their new song was.
No, I couldn't wait to listen to it because I knew it was going to be controversial, and it definitely did suck. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe there's a chance that the rest of the stuff isn't good. So, is it in conjunction with an album announcement?
There's no mention of one. It's just a standalone single, but
is it with a sign? Is it for a signing or something?
No, none of that. Nothing like that. Maybe
they did.
New lineup you're talking about.
They did sign with Equal Vision this year, so this is
my bad.
Probably that. Yeah. Bassist Corey McCory and drummer Michael DeMarco have joined the group, replacing Scully and Cadner. Yeah. And it's bumholes, mate. It's just complete bumholes.
It's just dire, and it's upsetting. But go and listen to their back catalogue, people, because they are at least were an amazing band, and hopefully they still will be. But this single hasn't filled me with much confidence. But yeah, listen to Mongrel, listen to Worse Than Alone.
Thing is, this is like something I don't really get with bands that are of a certain age that take such a directional shift. Like, it's kind of in the same vein as like how Under Oath were in like musically the coolest place they'd been.
Yeah.
And then, broke up, disappeared or whatever, and came back with like Erase Me. Like, what I don't get is that a band of that age and of that sort of very specific niche, they're not exactly like a radio rock band, right? They're not a band that like have a huge following. So it would make sense that you want to retain that following. No, like you're not a massive band that's initially going to get like huge exposure. Like there's not like they're not just going to blow up overnight because they create something little.
It.
All it serves to do is really alienate and wind people up. And I just don't get the logic behind it. I can see from a cynical perspective why it might be sort of appealing to write something a bit more crap, you know, like so like idiots would like it. But when your fan base is already, you know, only that big, I mean, well, not only that big, you know, they're a legendary band, but they're a niche band. Yeah. They're a cult band. They're not like a, you know, a huge, massive band. So surely you just want to retain and appease that following. And like, you know, you can morph, like you can absolutely morph. Like, one of our favorite bands of all time, Here's Legend. They morphed. They slowly evolved over records and changed their style up, and you know, but they always retained their soul.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This feels like there's, you know, the baby and the bathwater have evaporated.
The baby, the bathwater, the bath, the entire bathroom, all out of the window.
The plumbing.
They're being so antagonistic about it on like social media as well.
Are they?
Commenting, and then they're replying like these really sort of sarky comments. Well, thanks so much for listening. Like really sarky reactions and stuff. Like I just don't get it. Like unless the whole thing is a troll, but I can't see it. Like there's obviously quite a lot of work that's gone into making the song, even if it is bad. Like it seems weird to do that, take the mic. Like what's the kind of end goal? Dog, you trying to leave him or what? What are you doing? Right, sit down. This dog is really distracting me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. So it sucks.
It sucks. That's it. That's the long and short of it.
Something else came out last week that sucks. Zeal and Ardor, mate. A band that most heavyists love. They've been sort of I mean, I know there's a few people that haven't got on with it, but I would say they were quite a universally sort of appreciated band. They're brilliant. Yeah, brilliant idea that they executed. We've seen them live. Like, you know, the last few albums we've been absolutely into, man. That really cool. They had a very cool, interesting origin, and then so they released this album. We had this album on promo, but I didn't end up bothering listening to it because I was quite busy. And frankly, the singles that came out were just crap and weird. So this was another one that I was kind of just like holding on to. I was going to wait till it's out. I knew we weren't going to cover it improper on the podcast, but I thought like after like subjecting myself to it, I just had so many thoughts on it. I had to get it out because this is a band that we've really, really enjoyed, and they've just completely shit all over us.
Mate, this is it, isn't it? Like I've had like I think 3 amazing live experiences going to see Zeal and Ardor. Like I still think Stranger Fruit from 2018 is an incredible album. Like I've been singing like "Do that body down to the sea, child." I've been singing that to myself today, trying to like drum this one out of my mind and trying to forget that it exists. This is like, I mean, for a start, I before E except after C guys, like what's the name all about? I was like, what am I missing? I googled it. It's a company that do innovative international industrial packaging. So there you go. It's an album about packaging. Cool. Greif. Just Greif spelt wrong. Like I don't get that. Like,
is that
I'm
a
sure
language
there's something
thing?
Clever going on in there that I'm not aware of. But this album is just so like limp. Like
yes,
so lifeless. Like I understand why you would maybe want to move away from the whole like chain gang music meets black metal thing, as that could potentially be seen as a bit gimmicky, but when
it's your whole identity
at the same time, and that's exactly it. Like it's your entire identity, and you've completely ditched it. Like when we talked about the self-titled album, we talked about the fact that they were about to go on tour with Meshuggah and how the album kind of felt like it was designed to be taken on tour with Meshuggah on. Like it had that more straight up the chunkiness. It had a bit more of a bounce, a bit more, dare I say, like a new metal bounce going on in it, and like you understood the shift there and what they were trying to achieve. I don't understand what this album is meant to achieve. Like,
Yeah.
are they now going to be trying to go out supporting Maroon 5? Because that's what it sounds like sometimes, mate. Like,
bro,
fuck me.
It's bad.
It's just
like
so boring.
I'll tell you what, the first track.
Yeah,
I mean, this
a
is
little bit of a false
the
sense
first
of security. Do you think?
The first track kind of sounds like a Seal song. Bro, it's got big Seal energy, and I was like, "Oh, is this what everybody's annoyed at?" I don't know, maybe Zeal and Ardor. I'm in, dude. Everybody wants to write their Kiss from a Rose, man. Why not get that bag?
Of the best songs of all time, like, for sure.
But dude, I just feel like there's just a complete lack of passion. There's nothing there. There's not this earthy, earnest fire burning in the vocals like there usually is. It's like there's "Are You the Only One" sounds like a crap Red Hot Chili Peppers or Weezer song, and then it kicks in with the screamed
exactly. Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't
No
get
way.
it. I don't
Bro,
get it.
it's insane. And then it does kick in with the scream black metal part, which is one of the very few sort of fleeting applications of that style throughout the record. And it's very, very boring. Go Home, My Friend has got some soul. There is some groove in it. There are these little moments throughout the record where it almost sounds like something interesting, but then it just doesn't. Right? Like
there's two. There's Go Home, My Friend, and then there's 369. They both feel like demos of proper Zeal and Ardor songs. They're both about a minute long, and they're basically used as interludes. Like, what is
That's
that
the
about?
annoying thing. That's the annoying thing. Everything we've loved about their sort of established character is distilled in 369, which is just a singular idea, and it lasts like 50 seconds. It's like it feels like a genuine troll listening to this record. It's bananas, mate. Clawing Out is quite cool. I'll be honest. Cool. It's weird,
really artificial, and like the guitars and the drums were like on a Casio keyboard. Maybe that's something to be banging. Like it's got some really interesting, intricate like riff ideas.
Yeah,
but it's just so limp. It's just so like weak.
Yeah, there's some real sort of sinister undertones there with this heavy sort of mechanical riff undercurrent. It's quite weird and wonderful, which is what you want from Zeal and Ardor. And then, oh mate, like pointless interlude with like Veal in Veal, like just shit Nintendo wank, twice as long as the 369 bit, which is what everybody wants. There's tracks on the back end of this that feel like crap Queens of a Stone Age record, like Queens and the one that fucking
really the one the Mark Ronson,
the fucking Mark.
I
was gonna say, did Mark Ronson fucking produce this as well? Because it's an absolute shithole.
Yeah, I think you might have done. Like Disease sounds like Maroon 5. There's like Killer Nova sounds like it's gonna happen and it just kind of ends, like nothing ever actually comes of it. Solace sounds like a Sleep Token song if you took the inherent talent of the members of Sleep Token away. To My Ilk sounds like Road Tripping by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like it feels like they're holding back on purpose. Like that's what I want to believe as a fan of this band, and I don't get it. Like what is this for? Like I was thinking to myself, like
who is it for?
If you were like writing this. Who is this for and what is it for? Like, we're always talking about bands writing for the rooms that they want to be in, but what room is this going to put you in? Like, the only thing I could think of would be...
Is this for a fucking Tiny Desk concert?
Maybe it is. I was thinking, the only thing I could think is maybe you might be able to support Biffy Clyro, possibly. But where else is this going to get you? Like, you're not going to open for Metallica or something off the back of an album that sounds like this. It's not going to get you on the radio. Like... the mainstream ears aren't going to be interested in this, and your existing fan base also aren't going to be interested in this. So why? What? I just don't get it. And it actually is really like, I was just going to let it pass me by, but then we talked about it when I saw you at the weekend. I was like, right, I'm actually going to listen to the whole thing, because I got as far as like clawing out when we got it on promo, and I just bailed. And I listened to the whole thing. It's actually really like upset me that this is how bad this is when I love this band, and I think that a lot of the stuff that they've done up to this point is like genius level good. And then this has just happened.
And it's not a small album. It's a 42-minute album. It's 14 songs over 42 minutes. And there is such fleeting moments that are enjoyable in this record that it serves to only really wind you up. Yeah. Absolute shithole, mate.
Greif by Zeal and Ardor. No, just save yourself. Just pretend that it doesn't exist and focus up to the self-titled, and you'll still like this band, and you'll have a happier life. Yeah. And then the other thing, which was something that was on our schedule that I wanted to talk about, and I thought that I liked until I started writing notes about it, and then kind of realised actually maybe I don't. Throne, Swedish metalcore band who feature Buster Odeholm on drums, the legend that is. He's a big deal to us as a musician, as a producer. So I was keen to check out this record. I really like the EP that they put out, which was called Extended Pain, which I still think is quite funny because extended play is what an EP stands for. Anyway, let's just kind of, for a second, I think I might have talked about this before, but let's just talk about it for a second, right? Vilgiata, 67,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Humanity's Last Breath, 97,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Throne, 1.3 million.
Wow.
Just let that settle for a second. How much bigger this band are than Vilgiata and Humanity's Last Breath is crazy. But
yeah.
I watched, there's a video, Ola England did a video on his channel where he interviews musicians while they drink coffee in his studio. And he did an episode with Buster. And basically, I think what they do is they take all of the money that they make out of streaming and pump it back into Spotify so that Throne's music gets like prioritized in people's Spotify radio algorithms.
Right.
That coupled with like popularity on YouTube and stuff has done this band really well and pushed them into a position where they're actually like one of the biggest metalcore bands at the moment. They're like, they're big. They're a big deal. And on paper, I should love this album. On paper, this is like an absolute bit of me, right? Swaggy, beat down laden metalcore. Like that's Gary. That's like, I try my best to talk about that kind of thing every week. And I was listening to this and I was like, yeah, this is really good. And it's like a piece of chewing gum, isn't it? Like,
yes,
it tastes
a flavourless.
It tastes amazing for the first like 20 seconds, and then you could chew it forever, and it just doesn't end up tasting like anything. Like, it's just so like it just passes you by. Like, it's upsetting, but like I kind of feel like in the world these days in metalcore, most of what goes on is like as much as humanly possible. Look at Bring Me the Horizon as a prime example. There's like, let's literally shove as much stuff into our songs as we possibly can. And I guess like what Throne are doing is kind of the antithesis of that. It's like, let's just really just keep it simple. And it ends up that their songs have basically a formula which they all follow. There's not really any riffs that stand out in any of it. Like, you listen to it and I kind of go, I like, while it's on, I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm nodding my head, but then when it's over, I can't remember a second of it. The other thing that kind of winds me up a little bit is there's this like, what are you looking at kind of mentality to the song lyrics that just feels a bit juvenile. Like,
it's incredibly adolescent.
All the songs are all about like, take your name out of my mouth, which just kind of, all right, like maybe write one song about that, but it all just feels a bit like,
you're not Todd Jones, mate.
No, exactly. But to me, the whole thing just feels really kind of cynical. Like, it's almost like the whole thing has been put together specifically to game the algorithm, and that upsets me.
Yeah, dude, I think it's phenomenally bland, this record. It's got the Buster production job that's propping it up, but other than
tricks
that,
you into thinking that it's better than it is because it sounds so like so great in the production.
Other than that, there's just nothing to it. It needs its own personality. There's some hip hop injections which you've not heard a million times in metalcore records in recent years. So there's not really like a push and pull in the tracks. Like I feel like I am grading this on the wrong scale in like that we do appreciate Buster like so much for like what he does with his other bands. So like in my head I was like, we're gonna dig this, but there's no variation in the vocal delivery throughout the whole record. It's just so completely devoid of passion. It sounds like it could have been like AI'd. It's like there's just no personality. It's very bland. It's like 1056 with like no personality. Like, it's a real letdown. This album, which sucks, man.
I think
there's one thing that kind of stands out on the whole record, and it's that moment where he says like bloodsucker, and he says it, but it just says it 4 times the exact same way. It could just be copy and pasted that vocal, and there's no like intensity. There's no like working up the next one or doing one soft and then one hard, or like there's just nothing. It's so vapid.
They all do the same sort of thing every time, and like I know that there's probably people sitting there listening to us talking about this and going, well, like you guys love Kubla Khan, like aren't you being a bit hypocritical? And I was like, well, the thing is, like Matt Honeycutt's got star power. Like, Kubla Khan's music is basic, but Matt Honeycutt's got so much star power that it makes the whole thing work. This just doesn't have star power apart from the producer, which is just not really the right way to make music, I'm afraid. Like
everything else is like a solid 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's just, I don't know, I just wanted, like if these were like a tiny band from Australia who we stumbled across and I heard it and I was like, oh, hello. Like I'd be a bit more psyched about the idea of it, but it's the fact that they're like so big and, you know, there's big names involved in it. And like, it just feels like a product to me. It's like a bit upsetting how that kind of comes about. I mean, fair play. Like if that's literally is there to fund Buster making more Humanity's Last Breath records, then cool, it's done its job, and I'm quite happy that it exists for that reason alone.
Yeah, if that's going to give us Chaos 3, and you know,
exactly,
fucking sweet.
One thing is probably good. It's probably good gym music. I think, like, you know how people listen to dance music in the gym because it's got a pace and an intensity, but it's an absolutely background, and you won't like stop paying attention to what you're doing in the gym because you're focused on the music you're listening to. Like, I think this is probably perfect for that because it does just kind of happen, but it's got a beat to it that you can kind of stick a rhythm to. Like, you could probably do like a good spin class to it or something. I don't know. I've never done a spin class in my life, so I wouldn't know. And one of the other like positives I've got is they've all got very nice trainers. If you look at the photo of them in the prime, they've all got very nice trainers.
Phenomenal trainers.
Ones. Yeah, very nice. But like this should be like a slam dunk for me. And
this is you are completely in the pocket for this kind of stuff, and you can usually overlook some general flaws in this because it's got sweet bouncy riffs that just get you going. But I think it's just very, very bland. It's a shame,
and I'm a bit bummed about it. And it's not really fun to sit here and like slag off.
It's not fun to sit here and moan. We don't do it. We never moan about stuff. So we had to like group our negativity for these 2 records just into one little bit of one podcast, and then the rest of everything else. I can't see anything else disappointing us.
No. But there's a couple of things that we suggest you probably avoid. Definitely avoid it. Single holidays. Sonny, you got any AOR that's going to perk us back up again before we get out of here?
The Generation of Vipers record. That's out now, and it's bloody great. It's really, really, really cool. Brilliant, sort of sludgy excellence. It's a band that have been away for quite a while. Really enjoyed their single that dropped, and the record's come out now. It's a really great listen. Brilliant riffs. I really like the sludgy production. It's an absolute banger. I don't have anything fantastically articulate to say other than it rips.
No, that's fine.
It sounds fantastic.
It's definitely a satisfactory review for me. I'm happy. I definitely checked it out received it, but I haven't really dug into it more. But I definitely should, and I definitely plan to. I was just going to bring up, which you're probably going to be surprised to hear coming from me, but Songs of Blood and Mire by Spectral Wound is bloody wicked, isn't it?
Oh yes, I haven't listened to that yet.
I think I'm black metal pilled after going to Fortress Festival because I listened to it and I was like, this is well fun. This is proper like standing on top of a mountain, triumphant, like powerful black metal. Like it just feels like you're in the woods. Like it's brilliant. I thought it was really, really cool record. Like I think I've only really listened to the whole thing once through and then like started listening to it 3 or 4 times and ended up having to do a work call or whatever. And I intend to put a bit more time and concentration into actually listening to it. But my initial impressions is bloody great. Really cool record.
Yeah, the last album by them is really, really sick as well. I'm really keen on that. I just haven't listened to it yet. But thank you for reminding me that it's out there because
So there is great music out there. You don't have to get hung up on things that aren't very good.
It's Concrete Nails Week, mate. Don't worry about it.
Nails Week, guys. Just listen
Don't worry about it. Just
times.
put them together.
Put
them together in a playlist. Jumble them up. Jumble them up in a playlist and just have a fucking absolute nightmare of a time. It'll be brilliant.
Just when you thought things couldn't get possibly any more chaotic, jumble those 2 albums together. Oh my days. Don't operate any heavy machinery while you're doing that. Dear God. Next week, what's on the docket? I should have looked this up before I brought it up. Now I'm creating a delay and I feel really silly. But I think next week we are talking about Depths, right? September?
Depths, yes.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We'll see you then, I we've got a little secret small size banger for next week as well, which I'm excited to talk about. Don't spoil it. Like keep it to yourselves till we talk to next week. That gives you a reason to come back. Yeah, that's what you need.
Come back next week for pretty good riffs.
Join the Discord. Come back next week. We love you all.
Join the Discord. Come and like some things. Do all those.
Thanks for that. Hit stop.
Do too many thumbs up to use one of them.
Hit stop now.
Bye, love you. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.